initiate.
Today's a career. We are thankful to students, participants, faculty members, industry professionals, speakers, and the PMA officials who have joined the session. To get started, I take opportunity to speak a bit about Pune Management Association, that is a PMA. PM is India's premier management association, established in 1977 as an independent trust and public organization. It was founded by all-time great industrialist, late Padma Bhushan S.L. Kirloskar, late Mr. V.S. Vaidya, late Mr. C.S. Kirloskar, late Dr. N.A. Kalyani, and late Mr. C.V. Chok. PM is the center of excellence in the domain of management that empowers the individuals of the enterprises to excel in their endeavor. PMA focuses on the providing a wide range of services to improve the standards of the management practice in India. Introducing of PMA COE in a career guidance. The version of this unique center is to provide necessary knowledge, skill, and the guidance to all aspirant students and professionals to take initiative and transform lives to make positive career choices, utilizing their values, interests, and the abilities. PMA's Center for Career Guidance is committed to empower the career development process by providing a quality guidance and counseling to the students and the professionals at large. Now, I would like to hand over to Mr. Amol sir for next process. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashantji, for initiating this. And thank you everyone for joining us. I think we are discussing, we have gathered here for this act theme for the era, I would say, wherein we have insurance industry of India with 50 plus insurance companies, 20 plus in life insurance, and there are 30 plus in non-life insurance. Additionally, we all understand the importance of insurance, right from health to motor to other verticals that exist. And according to S&P Global Market Intelligence data, India is the second largest insurance technology market also in Asia Pacific. So there's a lot that can be done. Future looks promising with several changes in the regulatory framework and other aspects that are in place. And both life and non-life, that's the general insurance segments, are expected to grow immensely over the next few years. However, as we understand at this Center of Excellence Career Guidance of PMA is that obviously when it comes to insurance, there's a lot to do with the perception aspect of how insurance is looked at in general, and also how insurance marketing is done and how it is then received by public at large. So with this thought in mind, we have Shelby ma'am, who is Director of Techno Marketing at Policy Icon Insurance Consultants. She has been in the insurance industry for the last 18 years, working across functions in India, Oman, Dubai, with various reputed multinational insurers like AIG and RSA. Currently, she runs her own consultancy firm based out of Pune, where the team helps individuals and businesses identify their risk exposures and secure them by way of insurance. So looking forward to, I think, this good session and interaction with all the participants. As and when you have any questions, please feel free to post questions in the chat window real time. Speaker will take those questions appropriately. So there's no need to wait for the last Q&A part as such. So with this, over to you, Shilpi ma'am. Please take it forward. Thank you.
Me this opportunity, and I can also to Money Spring, because they've collaborated with us for the event. For the session, and I can see some of my friends and the people I know who have joined just to support me. So thank you so much, guys, and also very warm welcome to all the rest of you who have taken out time basically to attend this session on insurance as a career. So somebody, Confucius actually said that choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. And the power of this saying can only be realized once you actually start working, right? Choosing a career, it's a very critical phase in anybody's life to choose a career, because that actually sets a path to the rest of your life, and a major portion of your life you actually spend in working. So obviously, it's a very important decision. And I think we, as career guidance cell in PMA, I think we are privileged enough to get this platform to share our journey and experiences with you. And if you can, take something away from that, nothing like it. So I'm going to be talking about insurance as a career, and I'm going to be covering all these topics in the next 35 to 40 minutes. But before I get into that, I'd just like to give you a perspective on insurance. Basically one on my journey in insurance. So a lot of people tell me that they ended up in the industry unplanned. They never planned for it. It was by luck, by chance, or whatever. And for me also, it's partly true because I never wanted to be in the insurance industry in the first place to begin with. I wanted to do my medical, and I was studying in my grade 11, and it was all fine until I was dissecting earthworms and cockroaches. But things changed when I came in class 12th, and I started dissecting frogs, because that is when I realized that I can't stand the sight of blood, and the medical career was out of question for me, and engineering was also not for me because I didn't have the aptitude. So I and I'm talking about 20 years back. That time we didn't have many options. So I took up bachelor in arts and psychology, and I started doing it, but my heart was not into it. I wanted to do something different, and I was quite impressed with the Barkhada that time. The way she used to speak, and her intellect, and she used to meet all these smart people and interview them. So I also wanted to be like her. And in fact, I started doing my diploma in journalism, and then I got a chance to do some freelancing work for Indian Express and Times of India also. But basically, I was as confused as any youngster can be, at that phase of their life. So that is when my father stepped in, who is an insurance man, by the way. And he told me that, why don't you, try this insurance? And if nothing else works out, at least you have something to fall back on. And I, being a good kid, I just complied, and I asked him, okay, what is it that you want me to do? And that's when he started guiding me, and I wrote all these licentiate, associate, and the fellowship papers, and I cleared them quite. In fact, I was an all India topper in some of those exams. And at that time, not a lot of people were doing this. Even people from the insurance industry, as some of my insurance friends are there, they will know that people from the insurance industry were also not able to pass those exams. I'm guessing because probably they didn't have the time to study, because they were also working. But I, being a student, was able to clear it, so good for me. And then I got into the mainstream, not the mainstream, but I started working in micro insurance with an NGO, Ahmedabad-based NGO. And micro insurance was also not heard of at that time. As we speak today, there are a lot of insurance. I mean, all the insurance companies it's compulsory for them to write a certain portion of their business through micro insurance. So it was not the case then. Micro insurance is basically insurance for the poor startup, the below poverty line people. So I did that for a while, and then I started in the mainstream insurance industry, and I worked with the ICICI Lombard and Tata AIG for about 5 years. Then I got an opportunity to move to Gulf, so I worked there in Oman and Dubai for a good 10 years. And there also, while I was working, I basically, somebody guided me, and I started writing my Chartered Insurance Institute London exams, which are also quite reputed exams, in insurance industry, people will tell you. So I cleared that. I was lucky enough to, to get an opportunity to work with experts, industry experts at that time. And I did a lot of traveling. I used to go to London because the head office was there. I traveled to Europe quite a lot. I went to the Southeast Asia, to Hong Kong and Singapore. So basically, I was traveling all these places, and I was working with the people there and trying to understand how they do and what they do in their particular markets. So it was quite an exciting journey. Most of it was in the technical side, but then I also thought that why not try the market facing side? So, again, I got an opportunity to work as a techno marketing leader. And where I used to, along with my technical background, I also used to work with clients in the broking channel for business development. So I was having this exciting life there. And then 3 years back, as a family, we decided to come back to India. And then I said that I can't again do a job, after having worked in all these places. I don't want to start to do a job again. So I took a break of almost a year, and then we started this consultancy firm, and now we are helping our clients with their insurance programs. So it's been an exciting journey for me, and I'm very happy with what I'm doing, and I'm really passionate about the subject, and I'm happy and I'm lucky that I'm getting to speak to you about, something that I love so much. Uh, so another perspective that I'd like to give you about insurance is, insurance in India is synonymous with life insurance. People know insurance as life insurance and now health insurance because of Corona. Also, I'm sure that a lot of people in your family and relatives and people around you must have seen them working as insurance agents. Yeah. So you must be thinking that what is Shilpi asking us to be an insurance agent? So that is an option, but that is not the only option, and that is my intention to open your mind towards the immense possibilities that this industry has to offer. So before I get into the presentation, can I just request Amol if you can just do that poll, the first poll, because we want to keep you engaged actually, because for me it's quite difficult to gauge my audience. I don't know whether you're bored, you're excited, or what you're feeling. So we just want to keep you engaged, and we'll keep asking questions also every now and then, and keep doing these polls. So if Amol, you can share that first poll, so we can understand our audience. We just want to know if if
Sure.
you're students or if you're professionals or job seekers, right? So just a little poll. So we'll give you probably almost 10-15 seconds to do that, and then we can. Or you can just keep doing it as we move on, right? Because we also have to look at the time. Can I go ahead, Amol? Just give me a cue. I'll just go ahead because I can't really see the chat box. I can see.
Posted.
Okay, so I'll keep going ahead. You guys can keep polling. Yeah. So, what is insurance? Now, a lot of you will have different ideas about insurance. Would anybody like to give a go? I mean, if you can unmute yourself, anybody adventurous enough to unmute and tell us what is insurance, other than Kishore sir, of course. Anyone from the industry or outside of
The
industry?
risk management.
Okay, it's a risk management. Someone else, and I'll just throw all my technical jargons at you. So
Let me tell you.
yes, please.
As long as it is insurance about general insurance or life insurance, the basic principle is it is a provision against uncertainty.
Bang on. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and risk management is a further ahead subject when you come subject wise out there.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's a little into technical. Yeah, absolutely. You are a veteran, so thank you. So there are different definitions. I mean, you can Google and you can look at Investopedia and Wikipedia, and all these definitions are there. I'll just take the main points which I've already underlined. So first of all, to begin with, insurance is a contract, right? It's a serious thing, right? And it can be taken either by an individual or an entity. What it does is that it offers financial protection, as you said, against what? Against losses. Okay, and that sorry. It is offered by an insurance company. The person the entity who offers insurance or financial protection is an insurance company, and the person who's received it is an insured. Okay, it is used to protect people from losing money. It is a okay. Now I'd like to 5 years, and nothing happens to me. And what happens to all the money? I've lost all this money, and what's the point of taking insurance? So basically, we need to understand the difference between insurance and investment, right? Insurance is not the same as investment. Now, there are some life insurance policies which do have built into it, so you do get some money back. But pure insurance, what it does is it basically offers you a promise. The insurance company gives you a promise that in case something bad happens to you, I'm going to stand by you. In case something bad happens to you, I'm going to stand by you and reimburse you or compensate you for the financial loss that you have suffered. Okay. So in return for that promise, the insurance company charges you a premium, and the money, the money that the insurance company pays you is multiple times of the premium that he charges you, right? So if you're paying a 10,000 rupees on your health insurance, in case of a claim, you might get up to 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 1 crore, right? So it's multiple times of what you're paying to the insurer. So in that sense, insurance, you will not always get the money back because it's not, that's not the intention of insurance. Okay. So that is important. Another thing is that it is a form of risk management technique. Yes. So what is risk management? Basically, risk management or risk transfer, you can also say. Just to give you an example, if you're driving a car, right, there is a chance that the car will meet with an accident. Okay. How you can avoid this risk? You can avoid it by being by driving carefully. You can avoid it by not talking on your phone while you're driving, but still you cannot eliminate the chance of the accident happening. Okay, so how do you manage that risk? You manage it by taking an insurance policy, wherein if there is an accident, the policy is going to pay you the cost of repairs. So that is a risk transfer, as somebody rightly said, risk management or risk transfer technique. Now, another important point here is uncertain loss. Okay. Now, just imagine a person who's contracted corona. Okay, and he goes to an insurance company and says, "Boss, this is 20,000 rupees. You give me a health insurance policy, and from tomorrow onwards, I will be in this hospital, and you pay me the cost of my treatment." So, can this scenario be insured? It cannot be, right? Because it's already established. It's a known fact that the person has contracted corona. Whereas insurance exists for something which is uncertain, unknown, unexpected, right? So that is also another important point about insurance. So basically, these are the highlights, or these are the features of insurance. Now, moving on. How does it actually work in practice? We've read about, I mean, we understood what in theory it is. So, for that, I got this cute little diagram. I got it from the World Wide Web. And what does it tell us? It basically tells us that this is a large number of people here, right? Now, these people, as we saw earlier, these can be businesses, entities, or individuals like you and me. So what this large number of people do is that they pay premium. Okay, now what is this premium? This premium will vary actually. It can be 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakhs, 1 crores. It can be anything. It will depend on the risk. So for example, if a person who is 20 years of age and he is earning 10 lakh rupees per annum, he is paying X as premium, right? Whereas a person who is 50 years of age and he's earning 1 crore per annum pays 3X premium, right? You see the difference, because that person would be a riskier proposition for an insurance company to write, 50 years old person, because he's aged, and plus his financial value, as we call it, is higher than the guy who's 20 years old and earning 10 lakh rupees. Okay. If you put it in another property insurance perspective, a steel factory will attract a lower premium as compared to a plastics factory, because plastic factory, obviously everybody knows, is very hazardous. The chances of it getting burned completely are much higher. So this premium will differ depending on the risk. Now, these people keep paying premium, and this forms a fund, which is over here. Now, the principle is that all these people are buying insurance, right? All these people are paying premium, but not all of them will have losses at the same time. So not all of them will die at the same time. Not all of them will fall sick at the same time. Yeah, I mean, in case of pandemic, a lot of people can fall sick at the same time. Yes, that can happen. But for that, insurance company loads their premium for a catastrophic element. But in a normal scenario, not all of them will fall sick at the same time. The factories or offices or homes of all of them are not going to burn at the same time, right? So only a few of them are going to suffer losses, and this fund is sufficient enough, or should be sufficient enough, to fund those losses, which are then paid out as claims. Okay, so this is a very simple scenario. It's law of large numbers, insurance. There's pooling of money from a group of people to fund the losses of a few, and it's a risk transfer mechanism, right? Now, this is very simple. At the back end, it's quite complicated. The insurance companies invest hugely in IT infrastructure. They hire actuaries to work on the claims model, and to therefore derive at future claims, and therefore derive at pricing. So it's quite complicated at the back end, but principally this is how it works. Okay. Now, if you guys have any questions about what is insurance, if you have any doubt or how does it work, you can shoot now, or I can just proceed. Okay, this much is clear, right? Okay. Amosa, just help me with the questions, because I can't see the chat box. So if anybody has any questions, you just let me know. Otherwise, I'll go ahead. Okay. Cool. So I think I'll move ahead.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Thank you. Please continue.
Thanks. So what all do you think can be insured? Now, you've got a little cheat sheet there. So I'll show it to you. Everything under the sun can be insured. Okay. Now, mainly you can classify insurance into life and non-life. Okay, life is pretty straightforward. Everybody knows what it covers. Non-life, although it's much smaller in quantum in terms of premium as compared to life insurance, in terms of variety of products it has to offer, it's huge. It's immense. If you ask me, I think that there should be more than 500. I don't know, definitely more than 500 products floating around in the market under that umbrella of non-life. Okay. And why is that so? Because insurance companies are very innovative, they think out of the box, and they should, because we are living in a very dynamic world. This world is not the same as it was 10, 20, 30 years back. We have a lot of issues. We have technological advancements, we have political upheavals, we have catastrophes like earthquake and flood, and we have terrorism, we have, whatnot, we have legal battles, we have a lot of risks are floating around. And therefore the insurance companies keep coming up with new products because it's in their interest to capture that need. To give you just one example, cyber insurance, it's quite prominent now. So basically, we are all on internet these days. Everybody is using technology, right? We are doing our shopping online. Nobody goes to malls these days. We are paying our bills online. We are using GPay and Paytm, and even for a small kirana wala, we are using that, right? So although it is good, it helps us, but at the same time, it makes us vulnerable to cyber attacks, malware, virus attacks, ransomware, identity theft, data leakage, and all those issues, right? So that issue is real, it's there. So cyber insurance is the need of the hour. The company came up with the product. The product has been around for a decade, right? But now people are coming to know of it because the instances have increased, more so because of work from home scenario now. So the point is that there are lots of products, and this probably is not the session where we can take all those products. But I'd like to take a poll here and want to understand from you if you are interested in further sessions where we talk about these product offerings in detail. So just we'll spend some 10-20 seconds here if Amol sir can share the link. Okay. So wow, Sanjay ji, I just saw you. Welcome.
The message.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice going on.
Thank you.
So liability insurance is
absolutely, yes. So we are taking a poll. Let's see if people are interested.
So one is liability insurance, then there is home insurance.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. So let's move on. Let's maybe talk about these product offerings in some other session. So now, my question to you: do you think insurance is important? I hope everybody is saying yes. And why is it important? Well, there are so many reasons, but to give you the single most important reason, you and me as individuals, as businesses, as entities, we don't really have, that kind of risk appetite, to fund the losses which can happen in the future, to keep those funds aside. Nobody has the financial means to do that. And as I said, there's so many risks floating around us. There's risk of death, risk of illness, risk of fire, risk of natural calamities, and all that, as I said. So it's only wise to transfer these risks to an entity who's better equipped to handle them, right? Who's better equipped in terms of expertise, in terms of finances, in terms of geographical presence, which is an insurer. So it makes sense to take insurance. And do you get your money back in insurance? No, you don't, because we have discussed it. Because that's investment. Is investment important? Of course, that is also important because you need to multiply your money. You need to take care of your future needs. You need to also beat inflation. So investment is important also, but insurance is equally important, if not more. So I hope we are all on the same page here. And moving on, the insurance market size, it's as Amol mentioned initially, that 57 companies, life and non-life. Market size as of 2020, $280 billion. So it's also increasing at a steady pace. Non-life in July 21 grew by 19.5% year on year. Life insurance is also increasing, and it's set to increase by 14 to 15% in the next 3 to 5 years. Now look at the total penetration. It's phenomenally low, 4.2% only. What is it? Penetration is basically the total premium that all the insurance companies put together collect divided by the GDP of India, right? So it basically says that how much money people spend, as a proportion to the income, which is really low. If you compare it with US, UK, the developing countries, it's 11 to 12%. So there's huge scope there. I'll just quickly go back to the slide. Sorry, I just want to tell you something about penetration. So here, see, we saw this large group of people. Now, it's important for us to create awareness in the community of students and professionals to join the insurance industry because the industry needs talented people like you all. and which is what we're doing right now. But it's equally important to create this awareness about insurance in the general public, because only if they know about insurance, if only if they're educated about insurance, are they going to join this large group of people and contribute to this fund by paying premium, right? And because of which the contribution per person will come down, right? And the insurance is going to become more affordable. So therefore, it's so very important to create awareness about insurance. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so now this you can consider the most important slide. I mean, I think it is for me, and I think it should be for you. And this is something that I've not taken from the World Wide Web. It is something which I've come up with on my own, based on my experience for the last 14, 15 years working in insurance companies and working in different departments in tandem with different departments. I've come up with this. Now, if you're a student, if you're a professional, if you're looking to join insurance as an industry, I would encourage you to try and box yourself in these different boxes that I'm going to show you here, depending on your skill sets, right? Because that is how you will really be able to figure out whether it is the industry for you to join or not. Okay, so now let's start here. This is okay. So when the first in the life cycle of an insurance company, the first step is coming up with a product. Okay, now if it's a new product, then obviously they'll do some market research, they will do some benchmarking. If it's an existing product, then what they do is that they have a lot of data. Like for example, during Corona time, insurance companies came up with something called Corona Kavach, because the government mandated them to come up with a basic product for the people who don't have any insurance, medical insurance. And that time, because they were anyways writing a lot of health insurance, they had a lot of data, data like, what kind of people are claiming. Is it male, female? Is it what kind of age group the claims are coming from? What kind of diseases are people, getting? Is there a seasonality to it? Is it coming from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? What kind of hospitals people are going to? What kind of bills the hospitals are charging, right? So they had so much of this data. So what they do is they analyze this data, and that is done by the actuaries. Okay, who is an actuary? Actuary is somebody who, based on the existing or the historical claims data, predicts the future losses for an insurance company, and based on that, they develop their pricing model. Okay, and these actuaries are in huge demand, and the demand is going to increase by, globally by around 20%. And it's very surprising that in India we have less than 500 actuaries. It's a huge sector, a well-paying job, and you need a statistical mind. You should be good at maths, which I am not. But if any one of you is, then this is for you, right? So moving on to the next step, once you have come up with the claims and pricing, what you do is you make a product development, and then you also need to file that product with the regulator, okay? Because otherwise you can't sell a product. So product development and market. So somebody with a good skill on product development, policy wording, contract drafting, legal relationships, can fit themselves into this box. Moving on. So once you've come up with the product, you also need to integrate it in your IT systems, because you're going to sell a lot of such products. So it's better be automated. So also you should be able to sell it either digitally or direct marketing, or through distribution channels, or through call center. So if you have such skills, this is the role for you. See, the reason I'm encouraging you to do this is not, I don't want you to go and join insurance company tomorrow. But the point here is that only when you start, boxing yourself in these boxes, will you be able to take a decision tomorrow, right? You work on the skills that you already have, and to sharpen them, and go and join the industry if you really want to. So that's why I'm encouraging you to do that. Next would be this underwriting risk management. Yeah, so I've been an underwriter good part of my career. So what an underwriter does in tandem with a risk manager who's an engineer. So the engineer basically goes to, he's basically the eyes and ears of the insurance company. He goes to for example, a factory, and sees, what is the factory manufacturing? What are the raw materials? What is the finished products? What are the machines they're using? What is the process? What kind of fire protection measures they have? Do they have a no smoking policy or not? Or do they have alarm systems or not? All that. And how far is the fire brigade from the factory, and stuff like that. So he analyzes the whole risk, and he comes back to the office, and then he sits with the underwriter. Now this underwriter needs to understand this risk. A lot of times underwriter also goes with the risk engineer. A lot of times the underwriter is the risk engineer. So there's lots of combinations. So this underwriter, but he's responsible to accept or reject the risk once he understands the risk. If he thinks that, okay, this is something which we can do, fits in the guidelines of the company, he accepts it. And his decision is very important because that decides whether a company is going to make profit or loss. Because, if an underwriter decides to write all the crappy risk, the insurance company is going to make a lot of losses. So it's quite an important role. Once it's been decided that, yes, we are going to write a risk, we are going to insure a risk, then a policy, a contract, because I told you insurance is a contract. So the contract needs to be issued, which is done by the operations department. Then, if there's any change in the risk during the year, then endorsement is passed. You also need to make sure that you renew the policy, because insurance is an annual contract, general insurance at least. So you have to retain it. So all these people, if you have those kind of skills, data processing, if you're an engineer, if you have technical knowledge about insurance, this is the place for you. Next stage would be, as I told you, that if you're selling 1,000 policies to people, 100 of them will probably have a claim, or 10 of them, depending on how good your underwriter is. And that then there's a claims team who basically settles the claim on behalf of the insurance company. There's in-house surveyors, loss assessors who go and assess the loss. Even in a if there's a motor accident, you might have seen people coming and doing a survey on your car as to what is the quantum of the loss, how did it happen, what were the circumstances, and all that. And then there are investigators and forensics who are specialized people which are appointed. If the case is complicated, if the insurance company needs special assistance, then they are hired. So that is the last. I mean, that's not the last stage. That's the cycle. It goes on. Then there are some functions which work round the clock. Like finance and HR, reinsurance, regulation, compliance, audit. Yeah, branding and strategic planning. So this is basically very important slide. I again want to encourage you to do that. But this is from an insurance company perspective. Okay. Now, if you move on, there are some market entities, insurance market entities, like insurance companies we discussed, life, non-life. There's GIC Re, who's a national reinsurer. So reinsurer is somebody who insures the insurance company, because insurance company cannot take all the losses on themselves, especially on their balance sheet, especially if it's a catastrophic loss. They also need to transfer their risk to a bigger entity who's a reinsurer. So now there are in India, a lot of foreign reinsurers also, opening up branches like Munich Re, Swiss Re, Score Re. So there's, potential for employment there as well. Then there are third-party administrators who are basically settling health insurance claims on behalf of the insurance companies. So they also have their in-house doctors and medical professionals who do this for them. Now these are different distribution channels who basically sell insurance on behalf of the insurance companies, right? You must have heard banks selling insurance, corporate agents, insurance brokers, individual agents, micro insurance agents, who basically work for the poor strata of the society, who sell micro insurance products, basically. Then there are people working in the rural areas doing rural insurance. There are referral companies, there are web aggregators like Policy Bazaar, you must have heard of. And then there are insurance repositories who basically maintain data on behalf of the insurance companies. Right? So these are basically, okay. And now there are some specialized roles. Now, if you see, a lot of them we have already discussed when we were discussing the insurance life cycle. But a lot of times the insurance company might not have either the budget or they might not have the necessary expertise in-house to handle these roles. So they also outsource these roles, okay? Like investment consultants. Now, investment consultants are really important for insurers because what happens, insurance companies do not make any money on the premium that they collect. So for every 100 rupees that they collect, they pay a loss of 105. Okay. So how do they earn money? They have to have a really good investment strategy in place to earn money. So therefore, investment consultants are so very important for them. So anybody who's from a finance background, this is for you. Advertisement consultants, IT solution, database management, all of cyber domain experts. As I told you earlier, that cyber insurance is becoming so very popular now. But insurance companies cannot just go ahead and offer cyber insurance to people. They need to be sure about the IT security policies of these companies, and for that they need domain experts. So cyber domain is also, quite a hot, job. Um, Risk management engineers, as we already spoke about, actuarial consultants we spoke about, call centers, if they cannot afford to have call centers in-house, they outsource it. Loss adjusters, surveyors, we spoke about all of them. Trainers, examiners, everybody needs trainers, all companies do, so insurance companies definitely need. Legal consultants, anybody from the legal background, because there are so many claims, and therefore there might be so many consumer disputes. People are not happy with the claim settlement, and so there are different forums where these issues have to be addressed. Also, insurers sell liability insurance, where they need, basically they need, lawyers, in-house counsel to defend their clients who are involved in legal suits. So legal people from the legal profession also are definitely in demand. Cost containment specialists and loss control specialists, basically who give advice to the insurance companies as to how to keep their cost and losses under control. Right, so these are different kind of roles. All the different kind of roles I've tried to cover within and outside the insurance companies. uh, Now I'll just quickly speak about a few insurance industry trends here. uh, there's a huge investment in insured tech that we are seeing. You must be seeing the papers are full of insured tech startups. There are around 100 startups. All of them are doing good because obviously they are driven by technology, which is the need of the hour. So that is a trend. Also, as I said, cybersecurity professions, because of the cyber insurance coming into play. Artificial intelligence is getting big time in insurance. Basically, on claim side, on operation side, on risk assessment side. Telematics are also gaining a lot of popularity. Just like wearables, when we wear wearables, Fitbits, where the insurance companies can track the fitness levels of their clients, and based on that they either give discount or load the premium. Similarly, for cars, telematics works for cars, where the insurance companies can detect the driver behavior, whether they are speeding, whether they're involved in accidents, and depending on that data they again charge premiums to their customers. So that is gaining a lot of popularity, because a lot of our book, a lot of the premium that the companies write is motor insurance and health insurance. Drones are going to be part of insurance industry soon, because crop insurance is also a big thing. I think as few people ask me about crop insurance, agriculture, insurance aspects. So there's a huge scope for you guys who are agriculture students, because there are a lot of government-run schemes, which all the companies are involved in all these government-run schemes, where there's a demand for people who have that knowledge, agriculture knowledge, right from underwriting a policy till managing it till paying out the claim. So there's a huge demand. Obviously, the big news last year was when the FDI increased from 49 to 74% in the insurance sector, which will encourage and has already started. We have started seeing a lot of foreign infusion of capital in the Indian market, and government-run schemes and infusion of funds in the state assets also. So these are the main trends that we are seeing. Now moving on. All these are the insurance institutes. So if you really want to take up insurance as a career, and before that you want to prepare yourself in terms of qualifications, these are the places you can go to, and there are a lot of them. I've just put the prominent ones. Very close to us is national specific schools for actuarial studies. So that is also something that you can look at, people who want to go in that field. uh, so what I have done is, I was talking about is Insurance Institute of India Licentiate Associate Fellow. So this will basically give you an entry into the insurance industry if you want to. This gives you a basic knowledge. Licentiate is very basic, associate gets a little technical, and fellow is more about the management aspects of insurance. So it's not very difficult. If you really want, if you really want, and if you're really a good student, and if you are willing to study, then definitely, my recommendation is go ahead and at least do this. It'll take you a year or year and a half, because the examinations happen twice a year. So if you clear, in one attempt, then you can finish all the levels in 1.5, max 2 years, right? So you can try that. And then I also did my Chartered Insurance Institute London examinations, which I told you about. And this is slightly difficult as compared to the Indian exams. And there are some assignments that you have to do. But if you do this, this will give you a lot of credibility if you want to get into the international market, because obviously, I mean, this is a globally recognized qualification, so that helps you internationally, right? So one more question here, one more poll here. I think that's the last one, Amol, if you can help me. If you guys would like to have a counseling session on insurance as a career.
There's a question in the chat window. Can we have session on reinsurance
Yes,
for all the Rohit?
definitely. Definitely we can have. So we are taking this feedback from all of you guys, and we'll try to see if we can come up with more sessions, more detailed sessions for those of you who are interested. Okay, so now here what I put is very basic, just a benchmark kind of qualifications and remuneration, which is prevalent in the industry now. So you can see the roles in the first column, the qualification, the remuneration. See, basically the best part about insurance, what I like about insurance is that there is obviously a need for people from different backgrounds, because it's huge and it's so varied and there's so many functions. It's not necessary for you to be specifically qualified in insurance. That is what I think. You need to know the basics. So for your base, if you can do your MBA in insurance, nothing like it. But if you don't have the time for that, or if that's not something that you want to do, you should definitely do licentiate, associate, and fellowship. And then once you get into the industry, and if you're with a decent employer, I mean, they will train you to the core. I've seen that all most insurance companies, because everybody wants their staff to be knowledgeable and know what they're doing, know their job. So you get a lot of training, in that. So it's easy for you to join with whatever qualification you have. And if you are like a CA or a CS, then you have a place in the finance team. If you're a doctor, engineer, then obviously you can do underwriting, you can do risk assessment. So there's a job for everyone. For IT specialists, cybersecurity, definitely. For actuarial people, definitely. Is there's a place, and this obviously will vary the remuneration depending on company to company, and if you have more experience in your particular field, this you can obviously negotiate. This is very benchmark that I've kept here just for information, right? And then this is within the insurance industry, and this is like outside the insurance industry. So as an agent, you can earn a commission of say 10 to 25% based on which line of business are you doing. 10 to 25% of the premium. And these are different qualifications. So basically you need to have a exam passed, you need to do certain hours of practical training done by IRDA. That's for individual and corporate agents, but for brokers it is more stringent, because they are much more regulated by the IRDA. So they also need to have a paid up capital, they need to have their funds in place, they need to have an excellent team, they need to have the IT systems in place. So if you want to start your own broking or a broking firm, it's a big deal. But as a student or a fresher, if you want to join them as an employee, there's so many brokers, local and multinational brokers, so you can also join them. Of course, if you have added insurance knowledge, I mean, if you have that licensure and all those degrees in place, then that definitely helps you. So I think that's all from. So how?
There's one that I can see. It reads, can you elaborate on insurance broking and parallel career options with that?
Okay. So I think I already covered that there are if you are a student, if you are a fresher, if you want to get into the insurance industry, then if you have your basic qualifications in place, or if you are an MBA or a graduate, you can definitely go ahead and apply for a broking for a broking firm. But if you want to have your own broking firm, then that's a conversation that we need to have separately, because it has got a lot of requirements. What I can do is, I've got some questions from that. Can I just take those questions? Unless you guys have any spot questions for me here. Otherwise,
That are there.
Okay, so
the
like
registration form.
Somebody asked me that any media where one can do business with multiple insurance companies. So yes, there's an option, because as an agent you can only do insurance. I mean, you can only do business with one insurance company, one life and one general. But if you have an IMF license in place, which is insurance marketing firm, then you can work with two companies each in health, life, and general. But that has its own regulations, like you need to have a paid up capital, you need to have a net worth of 10 lakhs and all of that, but that's a possibility. Okay, Ruben says, want to know about general insurance products and details. Sure. So I hope that you've filled the poll and we'll try to arrange a session for that, Ruben, because it's huge. It's a huge field and there are a lot of products. But thanks for your interest. Okay, thank you. Anyone? I had a lot of agricultural students asking me these questions, but I don't think that they're here. But I think I've answered their question that there's a huge scope for agricultural students also. Somebody asked me, there are many insurance policies available in the market. Which all things general public should look for while buying a policy? So I think to start with, everybody, like every individual should have 4 basic policies in place. They should have life insurance, a health insurance, a home insurance, and a car insurance. So these are the basic policies that everybody should have. If you don't have them, you should think about having them. What else I had? Please highlight part-time opportunities. So I think if you want to work in an insurance industry, that's definitely a full-time job. But if you want to work part-time, then probably agency is an option for you. So you can probably have an agency license with any of the insurers and work part-time. You can, of course, it's a full-time job, but if you want to work part-time, then you can also manage it that way. Not sure if those people are there. So, those are quite specific questions related to them. So should I take it or should I not take it? What's a term policy? Oh, so term policy is basically, it's a life insurance policy which covers the risk of death. So there's a certain term that you have to choose, so if a 30-year-old person is buying a policy, it is recommended to have a 40 or a 50-year life term, considering the average life, living age to be 70 to 80 years. And for that term, if during that term, if anything happens, anything as in any death, natural or accidental, that is paid for by the insurance company. So that's a term policy. Please let us know how we can connect with you for the insurance broking. Okay. I'll share my number, guys, here. So maybe we can, if you have any other queries, you can get in touch with me. Okay. So Amol, if
I think so, we will learn more out of this.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.